everyone. Good to have you on the show. Lots being made about Zomato's investments. In fact, clearly indicating that it plans to deploy about $1 billion over 1 to 2 years. Just wanted to understand how you're perceiving this, because people are drawing a correlation in comparison to InfoEdge, their first investors into Zomato. But what InfoEdge did was invest from profits. What Zomato is doing is it's deploying the money raised from the IPO and putting into these businesses. I mean, not to say that these businesses are not going to be unicorns, or already are some of them, like YourFit. But as an investor, as a minority shareholder, how should one look at this diversification from Zomato?
Good afternoon, Aisha. So first of all, I think Zomato is not doing anything unusual. This was part of their use of proceeds, which formed part of their prospectus when they went for listing. So they disclosed this in their DRHP that they'll use part of the IPO money for expansion. But look, my fear here is that this is a company which is going into deeper losses and is expanding. Now, I don't really understand a lot of these modern day IPOs like Paytm, which just barely stepped through yesterday. Nykaa and Zomato, a lot of them have not turned profitable really so far. So, it remains to be seen how well they do going forward. Because, if you can keep taking money, or if you can keep taking money from investors, or keep taking more debt and expanding by acquiring more and more businesses, at some point you have to turn profitable. Amazon proved it in the US. Not many Indian companies have done it so far. In fact, I was just joking about this on Twitter yesterday, that one such experiment was tried by Harshad Mehta in '92, where he kept taking money and kept expanding by buying more stocks. That startup clearly failed. I don't know where this one goes, but as an investor, you should be really wary of investing in a lot of these modern day new age IPOs, because they've not seen market cycles before. They're just about getting listed in a very frothy market. Let's see where they end up. But Aisha, one point I'd like to make, which is very, very important, what you were talking about, that we're rank outperformers today in terms of falling, while otherwise markets around the world are marginally in green or flattish. If you look at it that way, Indian markets have far outperformed all their global peers this year. So from the beginning of this year till now, if you see Hang Seng is down by 20%, Indian markets have, they've even beaten their counterparts in the US, where for a very, I know US is a very mature market, but we have to come back to reality with most of the other markets.
Right. Okay. Have you been a subscriber to any of these recent IPOs?
No. I mean, I'm still struggling with the guys who are already listed. So, nothing there. Although I will say that between Paytm and Policy Bazaar, if I had to put my money anywhere, it has to be Policy Bazaar. And on Paytm, I can tell you, with a lot of certainty, that you may not see the kind of listing gains you've seen with a lot of other IPOs. Also, now since the book is closed and I can disclose this, there have been market makers who called us, saying, we still have 2,000 shares from pre-IPO period. Are you happy to buy them at 2,000? Upper price band is 2,150. So, with that kind of subdued demand, I'd be really surprised if there is any frenzy. Also, with these kind of things, it depends on how the markets are behaving on the day of the listing. But frankly, Paytm, I think, is going to struggle, because, whatever businesses where they can make money, which is, Paytm Money, I think, is a very, very good app. But there's a lot of players already in those businesses. And somebody was making the point that for customer acquisition, they'll eventually be relying on banks who hold these customers. So I really don't know what their grand plan in terms of growing profits will be. So, at this point, I don't find anything very exciting in Paytm. And as I said, there's absolutely no demand there. So Policy Bazaar, they're doing well. So I've not really looked at valuations. I've not really looked at valuations of stocks these days at all, to be honest, if truth be told. But Policy Bazaar as a business is much, much nicer.
Okay, fair point. Let's,